And we are rolling.
Hi, Susan. Susan Spector has been featured in solo shows in Southern California and in New York City. In May, she was awarded Best New Artist at the Beverly Hills Art Show.
Thank you. Thank you.
She has been featured in Studio Visit magazine, Spotlight magazine, and Hand magazine, a printmaker's publication. She serves as president of Southern California Women's Caucus for Art, SFVACC, a virtual art gallery, and managing director of Tag Gallery. Her show is called Jabberwocky.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. So glad. What a wonderful audience and group of people to come out on a Sunday. Thank you very, very much. And thank you for helping us get our word out to everybody.
It's my pleasure. Would you like to tell us about your inspiration materials, especially these materials in the center of the room, and your process?
Okay, so what I have here, what you're seeing behind me, are actually two distinct bodies of work. I have my metal pieces here that are brass and copper that I printed about a year ago, and due to a family illness, I'm just showing now for the first time. And then behind me, as I'm spinning around, are my original one-of-a-kind monoprints and mixed media monoprints. So you heard Rhonda talk about monoprints, so that's basically, before the cyanotype, that's what these look like. So I brought some props because it's a little hard for me to talk to you about. It's hard, not easy for me to talk, but for you to understand the process of a monoprint. Mono means one, as Rhonda said. And when I talk about it, and I use my hands a lot, and I can see people's eyes glaze over. So I'm going to show you what I do. And I'm going to show you two different processes. So the metal work, these are all 20-minute model poses on Zoom. So I'm in my studio. The models are in their environments, their home or their studios. And I'm working on a Lazy Susan like this. And I have a piece of linoleum that looks like this. Okay, it's very flexible. You can see, very flexible. And I'm happy to pass it around so you can see it. So I put this on the Lazy Susan so the linoleum doesn't move around. I'm watching the model. My eyes are watching the model. I'm not taking my eyes off the model. And I am carving. I'm carving into the linoleum like this. And I'm carving and I'm watching the model. And I'm spinning around and spinning the Lazy Susan and just keep going like this. And I come to an edge. I pick it up and I try to just do a single line drawing as I'm watching the model. So I'm going around and around and around and around like this. So after 20 minutes, I end up with something that looks like this. I then take this to a print shop in Santa Monica called Josephine Press, and I ink this up. And I ink it up with, this is called a brayer, and I ink it up like this with a brayer, applying different colors of ink, whatever I want, and I'm using printer's ink. This is rubber-based printer's ink. And sometimes I also use a paintbrush to get into small areas like the head dressing or the lips or the eyes. I'll use a paintbrush. Then I have the metal, which looks like this. This is a piece that was used. It looks like this. This goes on the press. And then this goes on top of the metal like that. It goes through this large press. And then the wonderful thing about monoprinting is that you never know what you're going to get until it comes through the other side of the press. And then I lift it up and there's this wonderful Velcro kind of sound, this squishy, squishy sound, because the ink is transferring from this piece onto the metal. So there's this wonderful sound that comes like this. And then I have a print that is placed on top of the metal, similar to this. Okay? So if it works, it works. I'm good to go, and then I can go on and I can ink this up a second time with, I can wash it off, ink it up with different colors, and reprint it as many times as I want. If this doesn't work, I can take it outside, use mineral spirits, wash it off, and start all over again and print again on this. They are very, very fragile. You'll see that on a lot of these, you'll see my fingerprints. I didn't realize when I first started printing these, and I was told I couldn't do it. It wasn't something the way that printmakers work. We don't print on metal. So I was just using my hands, not realizing I was supposed to use gloves. So you'll see that my fingerprints are on a lot of them. It's part of the artwork. There was a huge learning curve here, in essence, that I didn't know how I was going to hang them. They are hung with cleats because I couldn't hang any kind of wire in the background because it would have melted the metals. So they're hung with a cleat system like this, and the images are sitting on top of the metal. Okay, so there's no protection on top of the metal or on the image itself. So these are going to tarnish. They're going to change. And I don't know what's going to happen with them. That's part of the fun of what's going on. But so this is the work that was called, I think it was called Oh, What a Relief It Is. I'm not quite sure because they're relief printing. So this is the brayer I use. This is the Lazy Susan. This is the piece. Let me show you just one thing. So this piece, you can see that piece? This is this image right here. So it comes out a reverse image like that. Okay, and then here she is with her the colored ink, and then I washed it off and printed her in black, which is right here. And I did add a few things. She was holding this mug that had the bunny rabbit on it. I added the teapot because I thought it was fun, and her hand was just hanging out there. She was in her room and sort of just looking contemplatively, and is that a word? I put a window thinking that she would be looking out the window. This model was just fabulous. He took poses that I've never seen before and just held them forever. So he was fun to carve. And you'll see, I love to paint and carve feet and hands. And you'll see that the shapes of the models are distorted. I didn't have any desire to capture the actual figure, a leg and a thigh. You'll see that the hands are big, the thighs don't match, the breasts don't match, the feet don't match. I was gathering just the essence of the model as I was doing that. So that's that body of work. These are my tools that I use. These are my tools. And this is what and you're welcome to come and look at any of this. This is what the electric press looks like. It's about a 6 or 8 foot electric press. So you can come and look at that as well. This is my ink. This is similar to what I use in the print shop. This is, and these are some tools, some carving tools. So that's what I do. That's that body. Can I continue?
Yeah, I heard there's a 10% off.
There is a 10% on my work, absolutely. Today, 10% off, or between now and when it closes. The show closes. Show closes the 21st.
Yes, and all of the art.
All the art's for sale today.
Yeah, 10%.
Yeah. So before, I see one question, but if you don't mind, I'm going to go on. So the rest of this, these are monoprints, original one-of-a-kind monoprints. I start with a piece of plexiglass. We call it a matrix in the print shop. I ink it up. I ink it up with, let's say, green. Ink, green all over the place, green, green, green. And then I went to Michael's and I bought a lot of flowers, silk flowers, because monoprinting is an additive, subtractive process. So I bought a lot of flowers and silk flowers from Michael's, and I deconstructed the silk flowers. So now I've inked this up with green. Then I've put this and I've inked this all up with white, and I put it on top. And then I inked this up with, I don't know, magenta, whatever I used, inked it up. So now this is ready to go. I take a piece of paper that's been in water, or fabric that's been in water. I put it on top. I run it through the giant press. And again, you pull the paper off or the fabric off, and you don't know what you're going to get. It's so much fun. I do a lot of experimenting. I started printing on fabric, which I never did before. So some of these are on fabric, most are on paper. And then I go and embellish, similar to what Rhonda does. This piece I took it home. This might have been my first piece on fabric, or my second. I took it home and I didn't like it. I didn't like the petals. I didn't like the colors. The petals were kind of, I don't know, copper, gold looking. So I took this and I used very thin acrylic paint and I painted the petals. And then I came back and I first washed off a lot of the green. It was too green. I took a rag to it and took away all the green. Then I inked up the petals. I painted the petals. I painted the violet flower, and the violet flower started to run. The water started to run, so I got this wonderful shadow behind it. And then the violet started to run into the water, so I got this other kind of cloudy, shadowy thing happen. And I looked at it, and then I had all these burgundy flowers that were just sitting there, and I went, well, they're not happy. So I took a white ink pen and I just scribbled around all of them and popped them out. So that's kind of what I do. And this is the original print. This had a lot of the plexiglass, the matrix had orange on it. The flowers were all yellow, but as they sat on the orange background, the silk started absorbing the orange from the background. So when I actually went to print it, you can hardly see any yellow on the flowers, but you have all this wonderful squishy orange that came through. The center of the flowers was something that was deconstructed, and I just ka-chunked like that into the flowers. And then we do a ghost print, which is this. So I take this, after it's finished from the plexiglass, I remove some of the flowers, some of the petals, I change things around, and I reprint here. For instance, the little yellow flowers on the bottom, they picked up the orange after they went through the print, after the press. I flip them over, and this is the back side of those flowers. So that's what I do. That's thank you for listening. I took up a lot of time, and there's some questions. And
Questions?
yes.
I have a question. Number one, the modeling, is it a class that you belong to?
It is a class. It is a class.
So that's how you find the models?
Yes.
They're found for you?
Yes.
And then the brown thing that you draw, that you carve into, what is it called?
It's linoleum.
Yeah.
It's linoleum.
So
Very.
do you number those and file those? I mean, are those, how do you keep track of these?
Well, I recently lost a whole box of them and found it underneath my studio table. They're in a box. They're in a box, and I use them over again. And sometimes I tweak them, and I carve them. I cut them out, so then it's just this without the background. I can reuse them over and over and over again.
But don't they have value as part of the process?
I don't know. I don't know. You mean to sell it as part of the? I don't.
No, but just to store it and keep it as a point of reference for the work.
That's a very good question. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know. Thanks. I don't know. Yes.
Will you talk about your boxes?
Oh, my boxes. Okay, thank you. So Rhonda and I have been printing together for 2 or 3 years, and we're like sisters from another mother. We have so many things in common. It's crazy. So she was pulling out extra leftover images that couldn't be sold for whatever reason. So I had the same. I have drawers full of images that can't be sold because they didn't print properly or whatever. So I took them and woke up one morning going, I wonder if I can make origami boxes out of them. So what I did is I went online and I did research on origami boxes. I purchased 2 books, old school 2 books. I went onto YouTube and learned how to make origami boxes. And first, if some of you know about origami boxes, there's lots of folding, increasing and folding, increasing and folding. So then my artwork was ending up with all these creases and folds in them, which I didn't like. So I found a process that allowed me to create a 6-sided, these are 6 different pieces of artwork that I cut and folded and then slightly glued them together just to keep the edges solid. And then I glued them onto this piece of acrylic. Some people think they're supposed to be lamps. They are what they are. The challenge, it's been challenged to get them to adhere to the plexiglass. So this is just, they're leftover pieces that I couldn't do anything with. There's some more on the floor here, and behind over here, there's some boxes that actually did not adhere to the plexiglass, to the stands, and they are standing there. So it was just a way to recycle work that was in a drawer and to, I don't know, it is what it is, I don't know. I thought they'd be interesting. Yes?
Your work over here is really interesting.
Thank you.
How you do this. I mean, it's a fabulous concept.
Thank you.
Why copper plate? You said nobody does
But
that.
I want to go through my question.
I was printing on paper, and it's not that I don't want to use the word bored, but I like to try new things and be creative. And someday I woke up and went, I wonder if the carving, this is the beginning of it. I wonder if the carving from that was on paper, if metal would show through. That's how it all started. I was just curious. I'm very, very curious. I wondered if the lines from the carving, if the metal would actually show through. And you can see, especially on the black inked pieces, that all of these, this is the carving. These are all the carvings that I did. So once I realized it worked, I just kept going to the class and carving models and going to the print shop and printing over and over again. And the process, when I first started, it is very different than my last piece. My first piece that I printed is very different, the process and the ink and how I combine things, than the last piece that I printed.
Is the reason you work with models is it could be reproduced or sold or scaled? Or do you ever have individuals say that I want this just in my family or myself?
I absolutely would do that for a family. If you'd like me to do that for your family, I would absolutely, I'd be happy to do that.
I love the concept.
Thank you. I would absolutely do that. I have never done flowers before. I cannot paint a flower, but I often do figures, and I abstract figures in paintings and sumi ink and all of that. And I just took that abstraction and put them into this. I love tools. I love working with my hands, and I just love tools.
I think that would probably be a great market for you.
Thank you.
It interests me.
Thank you. Thank you. Somebody else had mentioned textiles for this. I don't know if anybody knows about textiles. Come see me. Yes.
Who are your art parents?
That was a question you asked Rhonda, and I went, oh my God. I think that's like, you don't mean literally, because I'm an art orphan, I think. I think I'm going to say John Greco, who is the master printer at the print shop where Rhonda and I print. It's in Santa Monica, California. I started with taking workshops at Josephine Press, which is what it's called. Then I took some lino cut workshops with an artist named Pavel Acevedo. And I take workshops and do a lot of investigating. So I don't know that I have parents per se. I mean, there's a lot of artists I like, but I'm inspired by Rhonda and Elise and Liliana and the people that are here.
All right, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan,
Yes.
I have a question. Your work on that wall. So you're doing this work from a model.
Yes.
Okay, and you're going directly and you're carving.
Yes.
Carving.
Yes.
Right there. Okay. Is there a reason that you don't sketch it out first and then have those?
Because sketching, I would lose the spontaneity and the essence of the model. And then I'd just be copying the sketching. And I wanted to be directly feeling the model in person and grabbing what I'm responding to when I'm looking at the model through the iPad. Because sketching at first becomes more left brain than right brain, which this is. This is more inventive. Good question. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, because you're carving so quickly, on that lino cut, are you heating up that lino cut?
Nope.
A little more flexible?
Nope. No. You want to feel it?
No, I know it.
Yeah.
I just, some people heat it up, so it's more flexible.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, some people heat it up, and then it's easier to carve.
So that's interesting. So there's also a lot of people carve into wood. It's called like MDX or something like that. I'm actually not strong enough to carve into wood. I tried it once and I got so angry that I just was like just carving like this, and it finally worked, but it's really hard to do it in wood. This is easier for my hands and for the tools that I use. Again, anyone you want to come up and touch anything, you're welcome to touch anything. The feathers, the petals. The fun thing about the petals, when I deconstruct the petals from Michael's, plug to Michael's, you get all these wonderful things that are holding the flowers together. So now this can become something that I put on a piece of plexiglass that I then print on. So there's all these wonderful things that come out of, just experimenting. I think this was the center of one of the sunflowers. I think this is what I used to ka-chunk here. I think I did that, something like that. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah. So Jabberwocky is a Victorian era nonsense poem about good versus evil. Why?
So on my computer, yes. Just yes.
Can you use cork?
Cork?
Cork sheets?
Oh, no, they'll fall apart. They'll crumble. Every day on my computer, I receive an email from something called like Word Smarts. And one day there was Jabberwocky. It's fun to say. It's fun to look at. It's nonsensical. My delving into flowers was crazy nonsensical. I'm telling you, I don't make flowers. And I'm getting such a fabulous response to my flowers and petals. So it's just fun to say. It's nonsense and fun to say.
Just out of curiosity, maybe wrong question or
No.
out of line. How labor intensive would that be for you to complete? Just an estimate.
That's hard to say. I mean, these are again 20-minute poses, and then I go into the print shop, and so it was a 2.5-hour class. So let's say I walk away with 4 pieces of linoleum that I can then go to the print shop. At the print shop, I'm on my feet for 8 hours printing and going through different presses and trial and error and all of that and cleanup. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any idea.
I thought it could be quite a bit. Yeah, because it sounds like.
I don't have any idea. If something works, it goes fast. If not, it doesn't. I know that with these, I kind of think like left and right brain, and my left and right brains, I always think are like fighting against each other. But so these were very left brain intensive. I was very methodical about inking and placing the petals and running them through. And at the end of the day, I printed this one, which was just loose and fun. And I love it, and I printed it on fabric as well. And sometimes what I'm doing at the very end is the very last piece that I like the best. So I don't know how long it takes. It varies from piece to piece, and that's it.
Let's give a round of applause.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all.